The nominations have been announced for the 94th Academy Awards, which are taking place on March 27th. I wanted to make some videos leading up to the big ceremony predicting what I think is going to win in most of the categories. This will be the first of 10 videos where I make some predictions. There are only 3 categories I am not going to talk about. Those are the 3 shorts categories: documentary short, animated short, and live action short. You can do your research on those. I have never been a good predictor of those, so I am not going to touch on the 3 shorts categories, but I am going to talk about the other 20. In this video, I'm going to predict the winners of Best Animated Feature and Best Documentary Feature. Here we go. So the nominees for Best Animated Feature are Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. I would have to say, of the 20 categories I'm going to be talking about in these videos, this is probably one of the easier predictions to make. I mean, there are some really stunning, fantastic animated films in this category. I think each of these is worthy of a win. I would say the one that has the least chance is Raya and the Last Dragon. That came out very early in 2021, and I don't think it's had quite the lasting impact of the other Disney films that would come later. So I would put at the bottom Raya and the Last Dragon. Next, I would say probably The Mitchells vs. the Machines, just because it got kind of a quiet release on Netflix. But that movie is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. That would be a really exciting win in animated feature if The Mitchells vs. the Machines were to take it. I mean, I just don't see that happening. I think the competition is too fierce. But I'm at least happy that the movie got nominated here. I'm glad that forever The Mitchells vs. the Machines can be considered an Oscar-nominated movie. That is great. So then we get to the top 3. This movie, Flea, is really interesting. First, you have those initial reactions to most of the top categories, and then a few hours later, the dust settles, and then you actually read through all the categories, and you look at titles that you know, some titles that you don't know. And what was fascinating for me was to see this title, Flea, show up not once, not twice, but 3 times. Flea is nominated in Best Animated Feature, Best Documentary Feature, and Best International Feature. How many times has that happened? That was pretty shocking. I'm like, wow, that's a very specific kind of movie to make, where you're getting nominated in all 3 of those categories. And what's weird is that I don't see Flea winning any of the 3. It's definitely not winning animated feature. It is definitely not winning international feature. So I feel like the only one of the 3 that it might win is documentary feature, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I don't see Flea winning animated feature. Again, the competition is just too fierce. Disney, you know, not every year, but Disney often takes this one, and I think they will again. So that takes us to the final 2. We have Encanto and we have Luca. My choice here would be Luca. Luca is one of my favorite films of 2021. I thought it was Pixar's best movie since Inside Out in 2015. I loved everything about it. I loved the energy. I loved the humor. And the central friendship story I just thought worked beautifully. And the ending brought me to tears. I think Luca is a terrific film. That would get my vote. But the problem with Luca is that it came out last June. It was a while ago. And it was just dropped on Disney+. It did not get a theatrical release. It didn't get a whole lot of publicity like when it came out. I felt like they kind of dumped Luca on Disney+ in June. And I remember putting it on, not expecting much. I thought, oh, this will be just kind of like mid-tier Pixar. And I was blown away by it. And I was actually really sad I didn't get the chance to see it in a theater. I think Luca would have been absolutely stunning, gorgeous on a giant movie screen. So, yeah, but it came out a while back. I get the sense that people like it. Some people love it like me, but there's not quite as much enthusiasm for Luca as there is for Encanto, which went to theaters, came out at the end of the year, did very, very well theatrically. The buzz I'm hearing and the vibe I'm getting is that Encanto is the movie to beat here. I would, of course, be jumping for joy if they announced the title Luca. I just don't see that happening, even though that's what I would like to have happen. I think the winner is probably going to be Encanto. I mean, you never know. This has been a strange awards season, strange year. I mean, there can always be a surprise. I mean, Flea, if there's like enough people who love Flea and want to award it somewhere, if it doesn't have a shot in documentary or international feature, I mean, I could maybe see Flea pulling off a shocker win. But the problem with some of these things is you start thinking too deeply and too critically when I think it's kind of obvious Encanto is going to win. So my prediction for the winner of animated feature is Encanto. The other category I'm going to talk about in this video is documentary feature. The nominees are Ascension, Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire. This category, like animated feature, I think has a pretty big standout. Documentary feature is a category I struggle with year to year. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I've seen the documentary that wins, sometimes I haven't. I still need to look at all of these titles. I absolutely adore documentaries, and I want to see everything that's nominated at the Academy Awards this year, so I will get to all of these. So the three I don't see taking this are Ascension, Attica, and Writing with Fire. I don't know if any of those three can win in this category. I really loved seeing on Twitter recently, there's video of the filmmakers behind Writing with Fire reacting to hearing their film nominated, which is fantastic. I would advise you to check that out. I absolutely loved that, and I shared it. I think this category comes down to Flea and Summer of Soul. The documentary I read about the most, that I heard about the most, that I feel like's gotten the most buzz is Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. Summer of Soul is the one I keep hearing and reading about. So I'm kind of leaning towards that, although there is that nomination for Flea. And I feel like if Flea were to win in one of the three categories it's nominated in, I think documentary feature is the one. I don't see it winning international feature. I think that category has too much competition. And I don't see it winning an animated feature because I think it's going to go to Encanto. So I'm kind of going back and forth between Flea and Summer of Soul in documentary feature. But I'm also thinking, would they award a film that has animation in documentary? I think that's where I start to doubt that could happen for Flea. I think it's really, really cool that it managed to get in an animated feature, documentary feature, international feature. But I don't think that necessarily makes it an automatic winner. I think that just adds to the confusion, and I don't know if that necessarily means in one of the categories it will win. Imagine if it won all three. Imagine if we were watching the 94th Academy Awards and 3 different times Flea won. And the filmmakers behind it had to go up and give 3 different speeches. That would be pretty hilarious. I would like that. But yeah, I don't think it's going to win. I think there's a clear frontrunner in this category. I, of course, need to see all of these films to make my final decision. But I'm pretty confident that Summer of Soul is going to take it in this category. So my prediction to win documentary feature is Summer of Soul or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you think is going to win in animated feature and documentary feature. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you think I have it all wrong? We'll find out on March 27th. Join me next time when I talk about international feature and film editing. See you then.